Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Welcome to Coffee Talk with Tony Walker and Heather Hughes.
Well, this should be fun.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and four-time author, Tony Walker.
From 1991 through 1994, during the once-hit late-night TV show Saturday Night Live, actor Mike Myers played a funny sort of character by the name of Linda Richmond, who, with her thick Bronx accent, hosted a fictitious daytime talk show called Coffee Talk. And since our own Gina Tutwiler loved to watch those Coffee Talk skits and do her best imitation of Linda Richmond,
As you know, on this show, we talk about coffee, retirement, family, dogs, coffee talk.
I thought it would be fun and quite educational to host a couple of our own TV shows that we're calling Coffee Talk with Tony. And to kick off our Coffee Talk today, I'll be talking to one of our longest tenured employees all the way from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Fellow fiduciary, I was going to say favorite fiduciary, but that might offend Trey and Wes.
That's okay,
but I'm going to say it
though.
anyway. Fellow favorite fiduciary, Miss Heather Hughes. Well, good morning to you, Heather.
Good morning, Tony. Good to be here.
Well, it's good to have you, and I've been looking forward to having you on board on the show. I know a lot of times a lot of our audience likes to hear from you more. It's a little difficult for you to get to the studios in Louisville because you're so busy in Bowling Green. So again, thanks for making the drive up. And you don't know this, but we're going to actually try to do 2 show recordings of Coffee Talk while you're here. Are you ready?
I'm up for it. Let's go.
Okay. Well, first of all, what I think the audience needs to understand a little bit about your background, because that's important, because you've been with me at Tony Walker Financial a long time, seen a lot of changes and been there through the evolution of our practice. So share briefly with folks your background prior to joining Tony Walker Financial.
Well, sure. Graduate of Western Kentucky University, go Tops. Had my degree in accounting. Lived in St. Louis for a while once I've got married right out of school. Did some different jobs within the accounting field then, and then took some time off to be home with the kids. And I decided to re-enter the workplace. Saw an ad in the newspaper of all things. That doesn't even happen anymore.
Oh, that is funny to look back on that.
It really does. For a job, and I think it was financial research coordinator.
Something like that. It sounded good.
Yeah, it sounded good. No idea what that meant. And then, you gave me the privilege of starting to work for you. And I think you weren't even sure what I was going to do when you hired me. So really started with a lot of tax research and things like that. And then it just kind of quickly morphed into something else. So, what did you have in mind when you hired me? Because I would like to know that.
Well, back then we were doing a lot of estate planning, and remember we were doing a lot of life insurance, and I was using the process of LEAP quite a bit, and I needed somebody to run those calculators, which we're going to go over those in our next show. Those calculators are still very pertinent, but I think it was this understanding of I was getting more into macroeconomics. I needed somebody that could do a lot of calculations while I met with people. So with your accounting background, as I look back on that, this is kind of funny going down memory lane. Number one, I was impressed by you. I was glad to see you come back in the workforce. I think the timing, I caught you at a good time. And then just the amount of calculations I was needing. So I think looking back on it, that was probably why I hired you. Now, let's kind of think through how this has evolved. I'm going to bring up a period of time, and Connie Fortney in our office hates to hear about this because it doesn't bring back fond memories. Remember, I used to run off every quarter to Chicago for those strategic coach meetings, and then I would come back, and I kept using this word, we've got to have a process. Remember those terms?
Absolutely.
What were those days like back then?
Well, yeah, you would be gone.
Which was good.
We had a little break. And then you come back, and Connie and I, back then it was just the three of us. we would sit down with you and brace for about a 2 to 3 hour meeting to basically hear what you'd learned from Strategic Coach. Some very innovative ideas, some that were a little strange, but you were right. You know, the main theme was, what is the process? And looking back, it's, you know, a lot of times it seemed like a lot of management kind of mumbo jumbo at the time, but had you not done that, I can't imagine we would be where we are today.
I agree. And I think that's just it. I mean, I was always trained, and I went through all the COU, CFP stuff, you know, financial planning and all that, and had some wonderful mentors along the way. But I knew after 9/11, because that's when I started going to Strategic Coach, around 2001-ish in that area, I needed some sort of process to help what I finally identified as savers, people like my granddad, but I didn't have a process. I don't know, Derek, if you're ready, if you can put up that 5-step process, if you have that handy, he'll find that for us and put it up. But as we've worked through this process, these are the 5 steps, I think we've done a really good job, and I talked about this on last week's show, on the first 4. But my concern is, Heather, and I think you would agree with this, those first 4 steps of the process, basically we call it clarify your vision, but what is somebody looking for in retirement? The second step is providing some sort of assessment, which I think our assessment is bar none the best out there, but still, anybody can do that. Third, getting somebody to commit to rolling over their 401k. Fourth, implementing the plan. I think we would agree, for the most part, many advisors and agents can pull that off. It may be kind of sloppy, or it may not be up to our standards, but they can do the first 4 steps. Wouldn't you agree?
I would. I think, you know, they may fall a little short on the first step, because a lot of times advisors will just cookie cutter, put everybody into the same thing. We try to hone in on what their real vision is and what their goals are for retirement. So I think we do that better than anybody else. All the advisors are great at 4 because that's where they get paid.
That's right.
So, you know, they're going to get it implemented, and they're going to, you know, make sure that money moves over and, you know, get that paycheck for them. So I think we work a little bit differently as fiduciaries. We're looking at a very holistic plan. This is a long-term commitment for us as well as the clients. You know, we're committing to serve these clients throughout retirement. And, you know, like you said, monitoring the progress is kind of really where we're trying to stand above and beyond everyone else.
Yeah, and I know you meet with a lot of people, but I meet with so many people who come to us from the TV show or our commercials. And the first thing I always ask them is, well, thank you for coming in to see us, especially if they're working with another advisor. I might say, may I see your game plan? And most people don't have any idea what I'm even talking about. So what we've discovered over the years is we have so many retirees, especially go through retirement now. We've realized that step 5, we're really good at monitoring your progress, but as you know, I think we can always do better. So throughout the show, we're going to talk about and try to, I think the purpose of today's show is to educate people on why everybody's situation is so unique and why you need somebody out there with the game plan that's trained like us, that understands all the macroeconomics and all the calculations. That's important, but more importantly, to understand that nobody's situation is the same and what happens as you move through retirement to monitor your progress. So what I thought we would do, if it's okay with you, Heather, we've picked, and I kind of let you do that in one of the cases I picked, but what I thought we'd do through the remaining course of today's show is just kind of go through 3 different cases. Folks, these are actual clients. We've kind of changed the names to protect the innocent and amounts, but 3 of how many game plans? I mean, we've probably done close to 5,000.
Oh, thousands.
Oh, yeah, thousands. So, and we really love this, and we are really good at this, folks. So, and we'll turn back and forth. We're going to make this very casual. By the way, for those who are listening right now on the radio, we're going to have to apologize because we're going to share a lot of numbers with our radio viewing audience. We decided to just do this in one dubbing. But what you can do if you're listening on the radio, you can go to our YouTube channel. So when you go to youtube.com, it's Tony Walker Financial. You can call up all of our past episodes, and that might help. And also you can go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on the TV listings. We've got 7 different stations that broadcast this show.
Stay tuned for more Coffee Talk with Tony Walker and Heather Hughes.
My name is Mark Williams, and I've been in the financial services industry for around 30 years now. I'm the CEO and president of Brokers International in Des Moines, Iowa. At Brokers International, to put it simply, We help agencies and financial professionals grow their business. We offer live support, digital tools and services, and several ways to submit both annuity and life insurance applications. Right now, we service around 4,500 financial professionals nationwide. The one thing I continually see with the successful financial professionals that we work with is that they have a repeatable process of doing business and providing service to their customers. Tony Walker is one example of those financial professionals that utilizes a repeatable process. We started providing our services to Tony and his firm a few years ago. I think what makes him so successful is that he's got such a well-oiled machine, a process that he's created himself. In fact, I flew my team out to Kentucky so we could see it face to face how Tony consistently provides that service. When it comes to his process, I found that one thing Tony does really well is hire more service professionals to help him so that he can continue to see and help more people. Tony has figured out that in order to service thousands of clients with top-notch service, you have to have a process, a way to duplicate what you do day in and day out. I'd invite you to give a call to Tony Walker.
Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today. Getting ready to roll over your 401k to an advisor you barely know? Are they just going to invest your money, or do they actually have experience in retirement planning? Well, here's my advice. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Get a written game plan from an experienced retirement planning firm that has created more than 5,000 written game plans. To get started, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click on that Let's Get Started button. With the stock market at all-time highs, our nation's debt through the roof, and inflation racing out of control, now may be the best time to consider safeguarding your money. That's why I'm offering to review your 401k and other retirement accounts to be sure that you aren't taking too much risk and you're not going to run out of money. To set up your free meeting with me, simply log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
Tony, I did a little research on you before I came in today, and I know that you're one of the largest producers of annuities around. But then when I looked into annuities on the internet, it seems like there's some negatives about annuities. Can you walk me through why they're good?
Yeah, I'd say when you say some negatives, actually, if you Googled annuities on the internet, probably more bad than good. Unfortunately, most people that talk about investments anymore come from kind of the investment world or Wall Street. Annuity products are not Wall Street products, so there's the rub right there. Annuities are issued by insurance companies. So insurance companies and Wall Street, if you think about it, they're kind of competing forces. So annuities are built for what I call the saver personality. They're not really investment products. Annuities are there to protect principal. They're to make sure people don't run out of money. For retirement planning specialists such as ourselves, they're excellent because we can sit down with a saver, especially somebody who's retired or nearing retirement. And for the most part, depending on if they want what I call mailbox money, we can tell them exactly how much income, exactly, guaranteed, they're going to have for the rest of their lives. Now, if you look at it that approach, you'd say, what's not to love about an annuity? So you got to understand there's a lot of people out there that do not like annuities because they don't sell annuities. They're selling products that maybe have a little more risk and possibility for growth, but a lot of the clients we work with are savers. They don't like taking a lot of risk, they want more certainty, and annuities are excellent for those types of folks.
That makes perfect sense. And, people like to find information on the internet. Is there a better place to get more information about annuities?
Well, and I am very good at annuities. We've proved that we know what we're talking about. So I would encourage people to go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and just download our free Annuities Made Easy guide. I think that will help people understand these products much better.
For additional information and scheduling your free, no obligation appointment, go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
One of the things we're known for here at Tony Walker Financial is our proprietary 401k rollover concept called the worry-free split IRA. And here's how it works. Unlike most money managers and wealth managers who tend to work with investors and speculators, their job is to try as best they can to grow your money with little concern for costs, fees, and risk. On the other hand, our split IRA concept recognizes the fact that savers do not wish to put all of their money at risk, but maintain a balance between enjoying the possibility of some stock market gains, but also without the fear of running out of money in the future. In order to accomplish this, our split IRA works as follows. Let's start with the first bucket. We refer to this as the immediate income and liquidity bucket through our current custodian, Charles Schwab. In this bucket may be all or some of your 401k plan depending on your level of risk. After we determine how much of your 401k or IRA we wish to keep liquid, we then will analyze your level of risk and select one of our 5 personally managed investment portfolios for you. Of course, should you decide to change investments to another portfolio over time, we will be happy to do so, and usually at no additional cost to you. Then we turn to the protection bucket. This is the bucket, or sometimes buckets, where the annuity will go. Why do we put the annuity or annuities in the second bucket? Because we're assuming any growth we might have would be in the Charles Schwab bucket. The annuity, fixed annuities, fixed indexed annuities, fixed interest annuities are meant for protection, and most importantly, their goal is to help you not run out of money. You see, an annuity is the only contractually guaranteed investment that can do this. Wall Street products can't do that, and neither can the products that we place with Charles Schwab. Only annuities issued by insurance companies can provide guaranteed income you can never outlive, something I call mailbox money. So if you are a saver, someone who is more concerned with the return of your money than on it, maybe you have a 401k at a previous employer. You might be over the age of 59 and a half and didn't realize you could even roll your 401k over to someone like us. Maybe you're just ready to use and enjoy this money that you've worked all your life to accumulate. If that's you, let's talk. All you got to do is log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and click on that Let's Get Started button. We can either meet in person or we can take advantage of something that's absolutely free. We call it the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call, whereby you can talk to myself or one of our other well-trained fiduciaries to first find out what it is you have going on and how we might be able to help you. So take advantage of that now. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
Welcome back to Coffee Talk with Tony Walker and Heather Hughes.
Let's kind of peek at this one right now, Heather. This is a couple that's already retired. And notice on our software up in the top left there, and I'll let you kind of go through this, but ages 78 and 65. We picked this on purpose. And let's make sure let's say the viewing audience has never seen anything like this. Why is it important to put those ages up there, and especially in this example?
Oh, great, yes. And let's preface this. You and I love this type of stuff, so
yeah.
We're going to geek out on this a little bit, so that's okay. But no, this plan, if you look up in that top left-hand corner, was actually revised in 2015. So
yeah, there were clients long before
that,
right?
that.
Yeah.
But yes, and our software really kind of came on board as we see it today, 2013 to 2014. Prior to that, we had just those long Excel spreadsheets that I used to do.
No, I remember spreading those things out, and actually those were very good. I mean, you did a great job on those, but we realized
they were ahead of their time. But
but there was no way we could work on that kind of mass basis like we are now
without
the software.
Very labor intensive. You're exactly right.
Okay.
But let's go back to this plan. So, we have the ages at the top. It's 78 and 65. So the first number was the husband's age at that time. The wife was 65. That's significant in an RMD calculation because since they're more than 10 years apart, the calculation is different for RMD. So that's always significant to have on there. And then on the plan, the top of the plan, we show the different sources of regular income. So we've got his Social Security of about 21,600. His pension was $12,000. Her Social Security, she had already started drawing that at age 65 of $16,800. She also had a pension of right around $12,000, and they had an annuity payment, and that was just a fixed payment of about $7,200 a year. And then, of course, because he was over the age of 70 at that time, 70 and a half, he was collecting his RMD from one of his IRAs.
That's that fixed annuity down there that's $72,000 and showing $35.48. I'm sure Aaron's putting that up full screen, but if you can circle that. So that's why that's going up, because that RMD was going up each year.
Exactly.
So, yeah, which we calculate those in our office too for our clients.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got a great team that keeps track of all that for our clients. So total income that first year was about $73,148. And
it actually goes up. Look at that. At age 82, it was going up to 79 based on these on this model.
Yeah, because we were actually going to start her annuity at that time.
Yep.
And her IRA, because we knew that she was approaching at that time 70 and a half, which was going to be RMD age. It's since changed since then. You know, we have to kind of keep in mind tax laws are not stagnant.
That's right. One more reason that, quote, financial planning doesn't work, because things are always changing, aren't they?
They do. That's exactly right.
Have we got a second page on this, Derek? There we go. I do want to go to this, because I want to see that income down there, what's happening.
So unfortunately, this is a revised plan from this year. So unfortunately, she lost her husband and kind of mid-year. So this plan reflects what happens at the death of a spouse. So he had partial Social Security and pension for the year. So that's reflected on the income plan.
So Aaron can circle this. So at age 72, notice the Social Security partial is $10,500, pension is $5,000. Go to age 73, that's her age 73, it's gone, obviously. He's deceased now. So people need to understand these models, and we're going to see this, that income is starting to drop off. Okay, people forget that sometimes. When there's a death, this is why it drives me crazy, Heather, these financial entertainers telling people you won't need life insurance and why would you need it. This is not that they should have had it, but it's a matter of fact. Usually people lose income when a spouse dies somewhere. So folks, don't rush out and cancel all your life insurance immediately just because somebody on the radio tells you to. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And so, you know, when he had elected his pension, it was a life-only pension. So upon his death, she did lose that benefit. With Social Security, what happens is you get bumped up to essentially to the higher benefit of the two spouses, but you lose the lower one. Her Social Security actually increased, but she lost his. So really, she had a shortfall of about $3,000 a month that she was losing upon his death. I mean, so not only
we can see those numbers down there in yellow. See how they drop off there now to 60,000.
So not only, you know, she's coping with the loss of her husband of many years, now she's also worried about what am I doing in terms of this lost income. So, you know, you kind of have to switch gears in your mind as a widow that, you know, my life is changing, you know, and
so in the essence of time, that's I guess, folks, that's one example. We want to get to two more in the show. So that's one example. Someone loses a spouse, huge age difference, lots of different planning situations go into that. And if we can, the essence of time, Heather. Now we've picked a totally different client. If we can, Derek, let's go to our second client. Now explain this one and how different this is. What was this gentleman thinking back in 2015?
Yeah, so we're back in 2015 again. I don't know why I picked two cases like that, but single gentleman. He was working part-time at that time and then retired at age 59. And well, probably 59 and a half, let's be real, because he was drawing from his IRA. So the IRA that we see here was about $51,000 at the time. That was in, you know, a brokerage account. Probably originally with Vanguard, when we were using Vanguard at the time. I would imagine we had switched that over to our Schwab platform in 2017. But he was drawing income of $2,000 a month at age 59. We backed that down to $1,000 a month because he started a survivor Social Security. So again, he was a widower.
Yeah.
And so we kept that going. As you can see, his income was pretty level. And then once that...
And can I interrupt you there?
Absolutely.
For those listening on radio especially, his income in his early 60s is $36,000 a year. Now, some people might say, how in the world does somebody live on that? We do have clients sometimes that their lifestyles are very laid back. They have no debt. So not to say everybody needs to try to live on $36,000, but it's amazing what some people can live on. They don't need $6 million to make it in retirement. But anyway, I thought that was interesting in his
absolutely.
case.
Yeah, that whole magic number that some of the companies
gosh.
put out there that you
Yeah.
have to retire. That's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
So, if you fast forward the slide, you'll see that we paid down that brokerage account, and then per plan, we turned on the lifetime income
that's
from
cool.
the fixed indexed annuity. So we are guaranteed that $8,854 for the rest of his life. Once he hit age 66, we switched from the Social Security survivor benefit to his retirement benefit. So all of this kind of comes into play, and that's the reason it's important to have an advisor that can navigate these changes for you.
Yeah.
So,
and the game plan, just how the visuals that this gives people that they can see this. I met with a couple yesterday, and their accounts were down a little bit with Schwab, and they came in. Luckily, they brought their game plan. We sat down and went over everything, and actually, he's ahead of schedule, even though some of his accounts are down, because he hasn't taken as much money. So that you've got it. That's the thing, folks. If you don't have a game plan, you get in retirement, and you've got somebody monitoring your progress. What in the world are you going to monitor? And I think that's why people are so nervous right now as we record this show in July of 2022 and the market's down. If I didn't have a game plan, you know what? I'd be a nervous wreck too. I'd be losing sleep. That's why you need a game plan. Now, I'll tell you what we'll do. In the essence of time, we got time for one more. I'm going to take this one because I got to save a little bit of time for what the Bible has to say about money. This was an interesting case. This is a single gentleman. He's actually, we didn't mean to pick widowers, but he's a widower as well. And notice, okay, he's already 70 years of age. He's already taken his Social Security there at $25,000 a year. But as you'll notice, we rolled over his 401k. We set up two different annuities. One's a short-term annuity. One's just an accumulation product. But that brokerage IRA, what's that number coming out at age 70, Heather? I bet you're going to guess what he's doing here. What is that?
yeah,
That's a big number.
That's a big number. $121,000 is coming out year one.
Yeah. Why do you think he did that?
That tells me there's probably some debt he wants to get rid of.
Bingo. So, folks, that's another thing, too. This is your plan. This is his plan. I know Leanne calculated the taxes on this being single. It was a pretty big number, but that's our job. Our job is to get you the money, try to do things you're looking to do. Retirement is about cash flow. So in his example, I think he knew intuitively, hey, I got all this debt. It is costing me interest, which is a cost. I got money I got to come up with to pay the debt. I just want the debt paid off. Had another couple in yesterday. He's wanting to do the same thing. He wants to roll over his 401k, pay off debt. Is it going to be a pretty expensive proposition? Yeah, but he thinks if he can get rid of all this debt and get out from under that, it's going to make his life easier. And that's why if you look at in yellow down there, if you see that total income dropping to $49,000, what this gentleman told me is, hey, Tony, if I don't have any debt, I can easily live on $49,000. He's not going to have much taxes on that either. So that's the other thing too. Sometimes people want to make more and more money, more income. We'll see that on the next show. Well, you're creating more taxes, which means it's kind of feeds on itself. You need more and more money to pay more and more taxes. You're going to pull out more and more money. It's kind of a vicious cycle.
It is. Yeah,
Whereas this gentleman here is not going to have hardly any taxes at all.
Well, and can you imagine though trying to navigate retirement without a plan? And there's so many people out there like that. They have advisors, but they don't have a plan. And this just kind of gives us, a beginning step to explain what's going on with their money and for them not to worry because we've got contingencies built in.
Yeah, so folks, if that's you right now, if you're sitting there saying, I'd love to see a plan like this, there's absolutely no cost or obligation to get a game plan. We first ask you to go to our website, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com. You're going to click on that Let's Get Started button, and what will happen is we'll follow up with you and we'll set up a free 10-minute fiduciary phone call. What we do during that phone call is just make sure we understand your situation, and if we think we can help, then we're going to set up an in-person appointment. In fact, if you want to meet with me in person, I'm happy to do that. I can meet with you at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. So log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or give us a call at the toll-free number on your screen. So Heather, I've got to get to the Bible. What it says about money is really good stuff coming up. So you are going to stick around. We'll do show number 2, Coffee Talk number 2, coming your way.
We hope you enjoyed Coffee Talk with Tony. We'll see you next week. But until then, you be worry-free.